Hello, boys. Hello. Welcome to another live research video. And in today's video, we will be breaking down the fight between Brad Riddell and Jamie Mullarkey that takes place this weekend at UFC 243, the card between Whittaker and Adesanya. So if you're watching this fight live on Twitch, thank you very much. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and don't forget to drop your questions in the live chat and I will answer them throughout this video. If you are watching this video on YouTube, please hit the like button. It would really help the channel grow. It would make a big difference to me. I would really appreciate it. And also, throughout this video, if anything pops up that you feel like you need to leave a comment on, in little things you notice about the footage that we watch, or share your opinion on how you think this fight will play out, please leave a comment below. And now it is time for us to get into this fight between Mullarkey and Riddell. It's a fight that I've been wanting to do for a couple of days now. As many of you will know, I've had a few fires to put out this week with a couple of problems with YouTube and stuff. But at the very beginning of this week, one of my elite members brought this fight to my attention. Actually, he's just left a message here in the public chat. It's Roastar. Roastar has been with me for years. Roastar has been making money from betting on MMA for many years, and he's a very smart, intelligent gambler. From the way that I know he bets and the way that I know he picks his spots, if ever Roastar mentions a specific fight to me or a specific fighter, I know that there's a fight I need to pay attention to, basically. So Roastar sent me a message earlier on in the week and said, Brad Riddell, high-level kickboxer. He's very good. He's fighting this weekend against Jamie Mullarkey. In terms of kickboxing and striking, he should be several levels above Mullarkey, so I need to get to this guy ASAP, because he could be a very good bet, and I've been looking forward to researching this fight for the last couple of days, so I'm very much looking forward to jumping into this one, and thanks a lot, Roastar, for the heads up. So yeah, we're going to take a look at this fight today. Now, this could be a difficult one for betting, because there's not that much footage available on Riddell, but we can have a look at what's there, and hopefully we'll be able to learn a bit more about him and make a decision. There is another fight like that on this card. The fight between Khalid Taha and Bruno Silva is very similar, because if we look at Bruno Silva's record, this is a fight I won't be breaking down this week because there's just no recent footage available on Silva. If you can find recent footage available of him, I would absolutely love to watch his last fight from WFF 40 against Ralph Costa. If you can find this fight, please guys, leave a comment on YouTube and let me know where I can watch this fight, because I think Bruno Silva might be a really good bet against Khalid Taha this weekend, because Khalid Taha's got no takedown defense and Bruno Silva is the direct training partner of Henry Cejudo. But I just have this rule where I can't bet on someone unless I see them fight, right? I need to know what they're bringing to the table. But I would also love to watch this fight against Casey Kenny from back in LFA 11. So please, guys, if you know where either of these fights are, help me and leave a comment on YouTube. Let me know where I can find these fights. But I have a feeling the fight between Riddell and Mullarkey might be a little bit like that matchup where we don't have too much information available on Riddell to make a decision from. But who knows, man? We will see. We will see what we get. First of all, let's talk about the X factors. So the first X factor that I want to get into is the fact that both these guys will be taking this fight on short notice. So usually the way that I like to determine if any fighter is taking a fight on short notice, I look at the cancelled and fizzled bouts. Usually if there's been a bout change, that'll be an indicator that obviously... sorry guys. That will obviously be... someone's taking the fight on short notice. There's been a cancellation or something, right? Or a bout reschedule. Nothing here for that fight. But I did watch an interview earlier on with Jamie Mullarkey where he did say both guys are probably taking this fight on short notice. So I'll just let you hear it from the horse's mouth here. Just give me 2 secs. We'll just pop this on.
The news, as far as we saw, was only a couple weeks ago that this fight was announced. Was it only offered to you a few weeks ago? How long have you had to get ready for this?
Yeah, it was like a three-week camp, like short and intense, but I'm always training, so it wasn't like, I wasn't like in an intense camp, but I was training, being ready for this, just then it all worked out.
When it came together, what were your initial thoughts? I mean, was it, hey, this is what I've been working for, let's do it? Or was there any conversation of like, yeah, but, you know, boy, wouldn't a full camp be nice? Or, you know?
Nah, it was like, jumped at it, like, just straight away. It was on. As soon as, yeah. And it's always going to be like that for any fight. I'm just want to fight all the time.
Stadium show, I mean, does that add to nerves? Does that add to pressure? Does it add to feel? What does it do?
Yeah, it excites me. That's about it. It's
So that is it, guys. Straight from the horse's mouth. You could just see Jamie Mullarkey basically saying that, taking the fight on like 2-3 weeks notice. But he said it won't affect him, that he was in camp anyway. Of course, fighters are always going to say that. It's pretty normal. You know, fighters are not going to say, yeah, I was sat around eating pizza playing video games. But that's obviously a bit of a red flag that both these guys are taking this fight on about 2-3 weeks notice. We don't know what kind of condition they're going to be coming in with. We don't know how they've been training. So that's, first of all, a very, very big red flag with betting either guy here. In terms of size differences, Riddell at 5'10" with a 71-inch reach compared to Mullarkey with who's 5'8". So we don't know his reach, but it's fair to say Riddell might have a bit of a size advantage over him. And in terms of training, Mullarkey trains at a small independent gym without anyone of note, whereas Brad Riddell trains with some absolute monsters at City Kickboxing. We can see Dan Hooker here, the man Israel Adesanya, who's fighting in the main event. Also, here we see Alexander Volkanovski. So yeah, few UFC fighters in there. This might be Kai Kara France as well, I think. So yeah, definitely some beasts in that picture. He has also trained at Tiger Muay Thai for a decent period of time in his career. Here we see him in some kind of grappling tournament, which is a good sign for a high-level kickboxer. But yeah, enough of the talking. Those are pretty much the X factors out the way. Let's jump into the footage and see what the footage shows us. So obviously, as we're watching the footage, we want to be thinking about what probabilities we would give either guy of winning. And at the moment, if we look at the odds on this fight, we've got Riddell as a slight favourite at odds of around 1.67, which is minus 149 for an implied probability of 60%. So to bet Riddell, you need to give him a 65 or better chance of winning. And remember, he's taking this fight on 3 weeks' notice. We don't really know anything about his preparation. So to get up to that 65% probability we're going to need to see something special in the footage to be able to get to that probability. And then if we look at the average odds available on Mullarkey, currently around about 2.25, which is plus 125 for an implied probability of 44%. So to get any value on Mullarkey here, really you'd have to give him a 50% chance of winning, right? So remember, anything better than 60% to bet Riddell, anything better than 45 to bet Mullarkey. So let us get into the fight footage. And the first fight that we're going to watch, let's just pound through Brad Riddell's fights because there's not a great deal of footage on him. He's the favourite. He seems to be the man to beat. He seems to be the guy everyone is high on. So the first fight that we are going to watch is from May of this year, from Glory of Heroes 38 against Maxim Pugachev. And it doesn't tell us when he won by knockout or TKO, but he did win by knockout or TKO. This is the fight here. So Riddell is in the orange and blue shorts. Let's see what he gives us. This is the first time I've ever seen Brad Riddell fight. Don't know anything about him. All I know is that he's a very, very good kickboxer. Very, very strong base. You can see just by his legs here, looking like an NFL running back. Obviously, he's a kickboxer. I haven't seen any of his grappling, but usually guys with a base like that are very difficult to take down. Hopefully we get to see a little bit of his takedown defense and wrestling in the fights that we're going to watch. He moves very well. Just finding his range, throwing a lot of feints out there to try and find his range, get some reads off his opponent. Saw that spinning back kick coming from a mile away. Now, obviously, both guys are taking it. Oh my god, is that the end of the fight? The stream is obviously. Wow, okay. So we didn't really get to learn anything about Brad Riddell there. Moves very well. Clearly hits very hard. Great timing. Let's just watch that knockout again one more time. Beautiful, 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 beautiful right hand. But we didn't get to learn too much about Riddell there. So let's move on to the next one. It's from Gloria Heroes 37 from April this year. A month before the last fight took place. Fighting Shem Murdoch with a record of 1-2. So a very, very low level opponent. Let's see how he gets on here. Can we learn any more about Brad Riddell in this fight? Will we see the same outcome? Will he set him up for the same right hand? Not as light on his feet in this fight. A little bit more flat-footed. Very fast hands though. Decent combo there. Fast leg kicks. Beautiful uppercut. Slip right under the boxing guard. Very fast hands. We're starting to see Riddell let his hands go a little bit more in this fight. You can see his hand speed. Very, very fast hands. Much faster hands than you usually see from an MMA fight. A little bit of his takedown defense being tested. His takedown defense not good. Takedown defense not good. I mean, he has stuffed this takedown, but a better grappler would have been able to turn the corner on that single leg and put him on his back. So, takedown defense not great, even though he's got away with it here against a low-level opponent. But boxing, whew, boxing looking sharp as fuck. Boxing's looking great. Very impressed with Riddell's hand speed. Nice knee up the middle as well. I fear we're not going to learn much about Riddell here though. His opponent looks like he thought about pulling guard there. I'd want to pull guard as well if I was fighting a guy with hand speed like this, with crisp boxing like this. Wouldn't want to be stood in front of him. So LB3000 just seeing that. Just saying that Brad Riddell took the current Glory welterweight champ to a decision. Super impressive. I don't know. I don't really follow kickboxing. I don't have enough time to follow another sport aside from MMA that closely, so I don't really know anything about kickboxing, but I do know when I watch those boys fight in Glory, they're another level. So the fact Riddell was able to go the distance with a Glory welterweight champion is impressive as hell. Riddell switched to southpaw here to open up his opponent's body to the body kick that he just threw out there. Is he setting him up for the left hand, or is he getting him thinking about the left hand to switch stances back to orthodox to land the right hand bomb that put his last opponent away? He's back to orthodox now. Looks like Riddell does look like a guy that'll have bad takedown defense, so he's very flat-footed here. If you shot in nice and deep on those hips. And that's the end of the fight. We're not going to really learn a great deal about Riddell there. It's all good though. Let's watch this next. This is actually just a series of highlights, which we won't be able to learn too much from, but it's worth playing anyway. This was from back in 2017 against Keenan Song. It's obviously a UFC fighter. Let's just see what happens. It's only a couple minutes long. See how this plays out. Keenan Song is primarily a striker though, so probably not going to see any of Riddell's grappling on display here. Oh, we do see a little bit. Alright, so again though, I seriously question Riddell's takedown defense, right? seriously question his takedown defense. I wish I had slow-mo, man. I wish I could do like those analysis videos where you can like draw shit and like slow shit right down and go frame by frame. We don't have that. Maybe one day we'll be able to figure out how to do that kind of thing. If you have a look at this is when I get super skeptical over how good Riddell's takedown defense is going to be, because watch what happens. Bam. So in this moment here, Riddell gets caught with his in a very square position. Now, if Song was just able to connect his hands together and really drive through on this takedown, he would easily be able to put Riddell on his back. Riddell's been caught at an awkward angle here when Song shoots in. I'm trying to get the exact frame where you see it best. Is it? No. Maybe I can get it. Is it? No. I'm not going to be able to get it, boys. I'm not fast enough. Nah, it was kind of there. It was kind of there. Wait. Alright, there, yeah. This is the frame that I wanted. Notice how he's off balance here. He's very upright. He's flat-footed. If Song would have had his hands connected around Riddell's body and was able to drive through, he easily would have completed this takedown. But Song just didn't have the offensive wrestling to be able to capitalize on that mistake that Riddell made, and Riddell's athleticism enabled him to power out of that takedown. As I say that, Song was actually able then to get the takedown against the cage. So we are seeing Riddell here show some weaknesses with his takedown defense, but then again, the fight was 2 years ago. I mean, he's got his back taken here. The fight was 2 years ago. He's bound to have improved a lot since then, training every day with guys like Adesanya and Volkanovski. Striking certainly not in question, but there are definitely some holes, and again, this time, I mean, that's kind of what I was anticipating would happen, right? So if you look on this occasion, as Keenan Song changes levels and shoots, notice how here he does get his hands connected together, and because of that, that enables him to easily drive through, sweep Riddell's legs from underneath him and put him on his back. So Riddell's takedown defense looking super weak here. But again, it was 2 years ago, and I bet it's improved a lot, and there we just see his fast hand speed. Absolutely legit when it comes to boxing, no doubt about it. So that's Riddell. That's really the only footage we've got to work on, which isn't a lot. It is not really that much for us to go on, but at least we know a little bit more about him now than we did at the start of the video, right? Could help us in live betting, who knows. The only problem with Riddell and betting Riddell in this fight is he is taking the fight on like 2-3 weeks notice, and we don't know anything about his cardio because those fights ended very quickly. We know that, you know, kickboxing cardio is completely different to MMA cardio. You know, if Mullarkey comes in with a grapple heavy game plan, could cause Riddell big problems, you know, just force him to work hard defending takedowns in the clinch. Riddell looks a big guy, very muscular, you know, he could slow down quite fast if you tie him up, force him to work to defend takedowns against the cage, or work back to his feet after being taken down. So let's see what Mullarkey brings to the table. Is he going to bring any grappling? So the first fight that we're going to watch from Mullarkey is against Edimar Teixeira from May this year in Superfight MMA 11. And we don't know when this fight ends. His opponent retired at some point. Let's take a look, see who he brings to the table. Obviously, Mullarkey's in the green shorts. What we want to see, if we see wrestling from Mullarkey, he's probably going to be a decent bet, because I'm not sold on Riddell's takedown offense and ground game at all. So Browndon has just said that Mullarkey has fought a featherweight for a lot of his career. So let's take a look at that. So that is one thing I forgot to mention about Riddell, actually. He has been fighting at welterweight, or his last fight was at welterweight. But this fight is scheduled at lightweight, but he has fought at lightweight in the past. In his fight week interview, he did say that the weight cut was going very easily and that it wouldn't be any problem for him making weight. But he is a big guy, he is taking the fight on short notice, so can we trust him? Who knows? And if Mullarkey, remember, it's a good point, Browndon's just reminded us what we said earlier on in the video. Mullarkey is only 5'8", so, you know, as well as Riddell being a very physically athletic built guy, he's also going to be taller. We don't know what Mullarkey's reach is. And, you know, lightweight, featherweight. featherweight, featherweight. So thanks for the heads up there, Brown Don. So, you know, this is quite possibly a case of a welterweight going down to lightweight and a featherweight going up to lightweight. So like a welterweight kind of fighting a featherweight. So thanks for the heads up on that one, Brown Don. You know, just from the way that Mullarkey's standing there, I mean, he ate a big right hand there, and we know from that first fight we watched, Riddell's certainly got a big right hand in his locker. Mullarkey's also standing quite heavy on his lead leg, which would open him up to that nasty Riddell leg kick. We just want to see Mullarkey grapple, right? I mean, there's no real question that Riddell's going to have a huge advantage striking. So from a betting point of view, if we look at this fight here, hypothetically speaking, with the average odds currently available on Riddell at 1.67, if we watch these two fights now, and we don't see Mullarkey really show any willingness to grapple, Riddell might be a decent bet, small. We'll see, though. We'll see. Because I could tell just by the way Mullarkey moves that he's not going to survive standing against Riddell. Obviously, there's a little bit of risk with them both taking the fight on short notice, but that's why they call it gambling. But what I would say is obviously a big percentage of fighters lose when they make their UFC debut. And that's because they struggle to compete under the bright lights of the octagon, right? And whereas Riddell has got a lot of experience fighting in high-profile fights for glory, he might be better conditioned to fighting on a big stage like the UFC than Mullarkey, that's obviously fighting in these small venues in this last fight that you can see against Edimar. So, in terms of who is going to hit the ground running and adapt better to fighting in the UFC, you'd have to anticipate that would be Riddell. Oh, nice one, Irish brother. Thanks, man. Cheers, dude. And so far, Mullarkey, 2 minutes into the fight, not really showing any willingness to try and get his fight to the ground. In fact, it's his opponent that changes levels on a beautifully timed reactive double leg takedown, put him on his back. But we're not interested in his wrestling from a defensive point of view. We want to see his wrestling from an offensive point of view. Maybe we'll get to see a bit of it here because he's done a great job of popping back to his feet quickly. He was briefly in on a body lock there. His opponent going to the wrong technique there to defend that position. He's trying to go to a tie clinch. Should have been trying to go to underhooks and circle off a cage. But neither guy has anything here at the moment. Mullarkey driving his head into the chest of his opponent, looking to gain control of his body. So we might see a bit of grappling here. So Mullarkey, alright, that's bad. That is not good. That's not what you want to see if you're thinking about betting on Mullarkey. So if you look in this moment here, can we see it there? Okay, perfect camera angle. So here we can see that Mullarkey's worked really hard to gain full control of his opponent's body. His opponent doesn't have anything here. He doesn't have underhooks in play. You can see he's going to the tie clinch here, which is completely the wrong thing to do in this position. So Mullarkey, if he's got any kind of offensive wrestling or judo, he's in a very, very strong position to turn this body lock into a takedown. But after working so hard to get this position, for some reason, he just decides to let go of it, which is terrible fight IQ. Why would you work really hard to battle with your opponent to gain control of their body, only then to give it up? It makes absolutely no sense. So that shows that Mullarkey's a little bit green, possibly not the best fight IQ, but he did catch a kick very nicely there. The land straight into half guard. Let's see where he can get going from top position here. And also, guys, if you are watching on Twitch live, please don't forget to subscribe. If you are watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. Please also subscribe if you haven't already. And leave a comment. Let me know what you think of this fight. Will you be betting this fight? How do you think the short notice will affect both guys? How do you think Riddell's experience in glory will help him adjust to fighting in the UFC? Do you have any inside information about his camp at City Kickboxing with Adesanya, Volkanovski, and Dan Hooker? Let me know, guys. Do you know anything about Mullarkey? Can you give us any insight into Mullarkey's grappling? And again, made a little bit of a mistake there. So he's in a very, very strong position in half guard. Half guard is the safest and strongest position to be in when you're in top position. You know, mount is obviously the most dominant position to be in MMA, but there's more chance that you actually get reversed from mount than half guard. When you're in side control, mount and full guard, your opponent have options to create reversals or improve their position, work their way back to their feet. But there's very little on the table for them when you're on top in half guard. It's a very safe position to be in. And here we see Mullarkey actually take himself out of half guard. Watch, he does it here. Watch his left leg. He puts himself back in the guard of Edimar, which makes absolutely no sense. Again, he's done great to get into half guard. Why then give it up? It doesn't really make much sense. Maybe he feels more comfortable landing ground and pound but I mean, look, it's fucking annoying. He was cruising from top position when he had half guard, and look at what happens as soon as he goes back into his opponent's guard. His opponent's able to create a scramble and get back to his feet. So again, Mullarkey's made two big mistakes here. He has worked hard to get the body lock in the clinch and then just giving it up. Then he's worked hard to get a takedown straight into half guard, and he's put himself back in his opponent's guard for no reason. So Mullarkey's showing really bad grappling IQ here, but very, very strong hips, solid takedown defense, but he eats an uppercut for his trouble. But again, go into the body lock here. Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Both hands connected together in a strong position to get this takedown. Look for the trip. Was very unlucky not to get that. He actually slipped. And now we're starting to see signs that Riddell is going to be unplayable here, because Mullarkey showed a very, very... Oh, he's actually mounted Edimar here. We'll get to see a bit of his hip control from top position. Can he stay heavy from this position? Nice. Stays in half guard. He sensed there that his opponent was going to be able to create a scramble from mount to work their way back to their feet. So he went to half guard, which is a safer position, and then it completely shut down his opponent's ability to improve their position, to scramble. We've seen two sides of Mullarkey there. We've seen some big... Oh, Ross Pearson in his corner. There we go. Ross Pearson with it, you know. Ross must see something in Mullarkey. You know, Ross is a busy guy. He's got his own gym, beautiful wife, lots of businesses. He must see something in Mullarkey to take time out of his Saturday night to go and coach him and corner him, you know. Interesting. Ross Pearson in Mullarkey's corner. I didn't know that. But what I was just about to say is we've kind of seen two sides to Mullarkey there. We've seen the side of him that has got into good positions in the clinch and grappling, not really knowing what to do with them and made the wrong mistake. But then we've seen the different side of him towards the end of the round, where he got in on a very, very deep body lock takedown, turned into a very nice trip takedown, and looked heavy from top position, was able to maintain, get the mount, and as soon as he felt his opponent might have been in a position where they might have been able to reverse, he went back to half guard to maintain top position, which is a very smart thing to do. So I am liking what I'm seeing from Mullarkey here. I am liking it, boys. Very much. But obviously, you can just tell from the way he moves, he's going to struggle standing. Heavy on his lead leg. And Riddell, obviously, very fast hand speed. Very technical kickboxer. Very nice jab from Mullarkey, though. You know what? Both these guys, Riddell and Mullarkey, they've both obviously got holes. Everyone's got holes, you know what I mean? No one's perfect. But I've just noticed at the beginning of this round, in the first minute, Mullarkey is eating quite a lot of big shots here. Ate a big head kick and a big shot at the beginning of the round. Edimar starting to find his range a little bit. Obviously, you don't want to eat big shots and combinations from Riddell. But I was just saying, obviously, both these guys have shown weaknesses. Riddell's takedown defense looks a little bit suspect. Mullarkey's fight IQ, striking defense possibly a little bit suspect. But we're just looking for strong positions. Strong positions to put our money. That's all we're interested in. Very nice deep double leg takedown there. Hands connected together. Straight into half guard. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Ooh, this is getting interesting. This is getting interesting, boys. Because Mullarkey's offensive wrestling after a ropey start actually starting to look pretty good. Very nice takedown entry there. Connected his hands together around the waist of Edimar, deep, gets a nice double leg and straight into half guard as well. It's the second time we've seen him complete a takedown into half guard. Staying heavy from top position, having a good amount of top control here. Also, Mullarkey's done a great thing here. He's got on the right side of Teixeira, and I don't mean on the right side, or it actually is Teixeira's right side, but what I'm trying to say is there's a wrong side to be on in this position and a right side. The wrong side to be on would be the opposite side, which would be to Edimar's left, because if Mullarkey was on the opposite side, Edimar would be able to get his back tight to the cage and use the cage to stand back up. But here Mullarkey's done a great job of getting to Edimar's right side so that he can get his leg and his body in between the cage and Edimar, so that the cage is no longer a tool that Edimar can use to work his way back to his feet. So notice here, Mullarkey's put himself in between the cage and Edimar so that Edimar can't wall walk. So really, really good fight IQ there from Mullarkey. Did he take him down from the opposite side and then switch? How did this play out? They've kind of rotated into it together. But it shows a good positional awareness for Mullarkey to understand the importance of getting in between the cage and his man. Good stuff. Of course, you'd have to question, training with Ross Pearson, how much of a grappler would Mullarkey really be? Ross Pearson primarily being a striker, but he's generating very, very nice ground and pound here. Staying heavy from top position. At the beginning of the fight, showing a lot of weaknesses in these grappling positions, but now showing a lot of strengths in these grappling positions, doing the right thing. Showing good fight IQ, good positional awareness. And he's allowed Edimar to recover guard here, but he won't mind this. He won't mind. Edimar hasn't really come close to working his way back to his feet. He's actually stepped back over into half guard. I was just about to say that he's only focused on staying heavy here, chipping away at Edimar from top. That's vicious ground and pound, vicious elbows. Mullarkey's ground and pound is for real. Vicious elbows from top position, but Mullarkey, he's only focused on maintaining this top position, chipping away at Edimar with vicious ground and pound. Beautiful stuff from Mullarkey in this round. I'm guessing he's going to be able to maintain this position till the end of the round. He is. Ross Pearson telling him he's done a great job. And I believe that was it. He retired. Possibly a broken jaw. Complaining to his corner. Or a cracked orbital or something pretty nasty by the look of it. He's certainly wearing a lot of damage. Complaining about a broken jaw or something there, I think. Vicious. So very, very nice ground and pound from Mullarkey there. You certainly wouldn't want him on top of you. And I honestly don't know if we need to watch this last fight, guys, based on what we've just seen. I think we've seen enough. But what I will do while I kind of sum things up and think out loud, let's just play this fight in the background. So this is Jamie Mullarkey against Abel Britters from November 2018, so around a year ago now, from Superfight MMA 9. Abel Britters with a record of 12-5. Let's take a look. Let us take a look at this. So, Irish brother just saying, what is Riddell like off his back? If he is bad, I think Mullarkey takes this on points. Yes, mate, I know. It's a shame we don't know more about Riddell's ground game, because based on what I've just seen from Mullarkey, he looks decent, you know, he does look decent. So what I'm going to do, boys, I'm just going to play this fight in the background, just while I kind of sum things up. Because I think we've seen enough in that fight to know that we can't bet Riddell. It's impossible. You know, at the end of the day, I don't care what he's done in Glory. I don't care how good his striking looked. He's taking the fight on 2-3 weeks' notice. Who knows where his weight cut's going to be like? Who knows how much he's been training? He might have just said yes and taken the fight. It's just a big opportunity to fight on a big UFC card, on a big stage, right, in the Marvel Stadium, with his teammates Dan Hooker and Israel Adesanya. I'm sure he feels well prepared, but who really knows until he gets in there, right? Fighters say they're well prepared all the time. If I had $100 for every time a fighter said they felt great and there were no issues going into a fight, and then showed there were issues going into a fight, I'd be a wealthy man. So I never listen to that type of shit in fighter interviews. But here we can see, just at the beginning of this fight, Mullarkey's obviously going to have some problems if this fight stays standing. You know, he's quite flat-footed, quite slow, stands heavy on his lead leg. Striking defense not the best, right? It goes without saying, if Riddell can keep this fight standing, Mullarkey's in big trouble. But also, based on those little clips we saw of Riddell, to cap him at 65%, which is what you'd need to do to be able to bet him here, is impossible, because he definitely shows there are some weaknesses with his takedown defense and ground game. And we just saw some reasonably good offensive wrestling from Mullarkey in that last fight we watched, and he's certainly very heavy from top position, able to generate a lot of damage from top position. And, you know, he said in his interview that he has been in the gym, training hard, he's always in camp. If that's the case, and, you know, if Riddell has been, you know, taking some time off, chilling out, not training as hard, who knows what could happen, right? But in my opinion, we can't bet Mullarkey here either, because he's only a slight underdog, and you'd have to give him a 50% chance of winning. Even then, you wouldn't really get that much of a margin on him, because his implied probability is close to 45%. And when I look at Mullarkey, just my issue is, we've seen flashes of Riddell showing poor takedown defense and a bad ground game, but we don't really know. It is a little bit of an assumption. I mean, the fight where he really showed weaknesses in his takedown defense was the Keenan Song fight, but that happened 2 years ago, right? And he's been training with, you know, guys like Israel Adesanya, Dan Hooker every day. I mean, there was a time in the UFC where Dan Hooker had very, very poor takedown defense. You know, if you go and watch Adesanya's fight against Wilkinson, his takedown defense didn't look great in that fight, and it's improved immeasurably since then. So we know that the guys at City Kickboxing can help guys develop very good takedown defense in a relatively short space of time. So, while 2 years ago, if that fight against Keenan Song would have taken place 6 months ago, I'd be more open-minded about taking a gamble on Mullarkey. But with it happening 2 years ago, you know, who knows how much Brad Riddell has improved since then. So that's why, for me, this is a clear pass. You know, I hate to be boring, but it's quite clear that Riddell can cause Mullarkey big problems standing up. It's quite clear Mullarkey can cause him big problems on the ground. You know, Riddell has got more experience competing on a big stage with Glory. Who knows how these guys have been training. There's just no strong positions here. It's an easy pass for me, guys. But let me know what you think, if you agree. Leave a comment and let me know, guys. Leave a comment in the chat, in the comments below. Are you betting this fight? Who do you think will win this fight? Do you think there's value on Riddell? Do you think there's value on Mullarkey? let me know. Hit the like button if you appreciated this breakdown, guys. I'll be back very soon with another one. And also hit subscribe if you haven't already. It would really help the channel grow. But for now, boys, thank you very, very much for watching. And I'll be back very soon. Really sorry there's no bets to share with you here, boys. But this is about as clear a pass as you will ever see. No strong positions on this one. So don't put your money in harm's way. Be smart and just pass.